10. Lord Jesus, as we jump into your word, let it leap out to us. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen? Oh, God is good. All the time? Verse 35, chapter 10, and James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came up to him and said, Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you. Now, I'm always just blown away by this passage. Okay, you're sitting with the Son of God. Jesus Christ is right there. You've been walking with him. This is not the first time they've met him. This is not the beginning of the ministry that he's had on this earth. And they come in and say, you know what, Jesus? How you doing today? Good. Okay. Feeling pretty good. Okay. We want you to do anything that we ask you to do. I tell you, I know how this feels. Poor thing, I don't want to, my daughter's awesome. She's not bad or anything like that. I know I tell a lot of stories, especially about these Legos. But she's at that age where she's gotten really like enthralled with Legos. To the point where like, okay, even if somebody gave us like all kinds of Legos, I don't want to give you any more because you've been inundated with Legos. She loves these new things, Lego friends. I can't tell you. I mean, I remember we used to, like I said, I had robotics. Does anybody remember robotics? You can't. I'm telling you, we'll go hang out and build robotics. Anybody remember the thing of Capsula? Anybody remember those? Yeah, either I'm like way dated or I played with some really crazy toys. Lincoln Logs. Yeah. Now, when I was a kid, I had these things that you get the Lincoln Logs that give you a box of a bunch of different things. And you're on your own, kid. Right? Hey, we're going to give you X amount of Legos. Some of them are this big, some are that big. You're on your own. Now, it's crazy. They give you this box with a picture on the front. They give you just the amount of Legos to make whatever's on the front of that thing, and they charge you crazy amount. I'm a huge Star Wars fan. You know, my wife was so good. She got me for our anniversary, got me a Millennium Falcon. If you ever go to the office, you can see I made this Millennium Falcon. It's like some 1,800 pieces or whatever. It's phenomenal. You can open up and play with little figures inside. I don't do that in the office. If you came by, you're not going to see me shooting my little Lego arrows or anything like that, running around my office. You're not going to see that. But I've got a new shelf that I'm putting my Lego Star Wars Legos, right? And as I build my collection, it's going to go there. So the next one I want to do is this X-Wing. For those of you who know Star Wars, you know what the X-Wing is. $280. Yeah, my sentiments exactly, Lauren. Like, what? There's one, the Death Star, is like some $1,400. You're going, this is a Lego. It's a toy, not a car. I'm not a Death Star. I want to make it with Legos. But my daughter will come up to me, Daddy, I want such and such. They've all got names. Emma, Stephanie, Olivia, all these different ones. And I can't even keep up with the Lego names. I want Emma's house. I want da-da-da-da. Daddy, can I please get it? I've got money. She hands me 2 quarters. It doesn't cut it. And I sit there to go, baby, we can't do that right now. We can't do it right now. Okay, Daddy. 2 hours later, Daddy, can we? No. She loves it. So she asks of those things. Believe me, there'll be a point when we get to that place of really understanding, okay, how do we manage our stuff and what we all get so much and we're not going to buy everything in the world. We're going to get there. She's 6. I can't expect her to be any but a little girl. She wants that stuff. You just have to help guide her and be a parent. I get it. But I find myself reading this passage and feeling the same thing. When my daughter comes to me, Daddy, can I have? Daddy, can I have? Think about James and John, grown men. Okay, Jesus, we want you to give us whatever you ask for, whatever we ask for. And Jesus actually entertains it. That's the funny part of this passage. Teacher, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you. He says, well, what do you want me to do for you? Verse 37, they said to him, now notice, this is not just Emma's house. It's not just a Lego box. Grant us to sit, one at your right and one at your left, in glory. When we go to heaven, and all these people go to heaven, I want to sit at your right, and he can sit at your left. So that when they come, we can kind of be right there with you. We want to be big cheese. We want to be the head honchos. And he sits there, he says, Jesus said, you do not know what you're asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I'm about to drink? Or be baptized with the baptism in which I am baptized? It's a good thing that I'm not Jesus. I would have said, no. Go away. Go get something. You whatever you want to do. Just don't ever ask me that again. It's crazy. But he says, you don't understand what you're asking for. And I used to look at that. Oh, maybe it's because they don't understand what it means to be in leadership. Maybe they don't understand what it means, how hard it's going to be to lead at the right hand and the left hand of the Father. I think there's an element of that. But in my studies, I think that there's a lot more to it. Sit on my right hand, Jesus says, or on my left is not mine to grant, but for those whom it's been prepared. When the 10 heard it, they began to be indignant at James and John. So the 12 disciples were there. The other 10 heard it. Well, you think you're better than us, huh? So they're actually angry with these two guys. Hey, haven't we been walking with you all this time? What makes you better than us? They're indignant. Jesus called them and said, you know that those who are considered rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones exercise authority over them, but it shall not be so among you. Whoever would be great among you must be your servant, and whoever would be first among you must be slave of all. Verse 45. You ever highlight anything in your Bible? Underline it or whatnot? Do this. Verse 45. For even the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many. Changes everything. And again, we look at that and we think, okay, we'll serve. Well, I can serve. I get it. I get it. Jesus said that we have to serve. And we'll get up on a church and you'll see pulpits and preachers all over the place saying, okay, we're going to have a service day. It's important for you to serve in the church. We need volunteers. We need da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And we will a lot of times use that concept in Christianity. And we miss the boat altogether because there's so many different even meanings for that. See, because when you look in the time of Jesus, serving came down to two things. Are you serving because you have to? Or are you serving because you want to? You serve because you have to if you're a slave. But if you serve because you want to, well, that's a whole other thing. That deals with character. Now, when you look at things in the Bible, in the New Testament, serving for even food or for caring for individuals, these were things that were for the slave laborers, the servants. These were people that were paid to do it or just bought to do it. For somebody who was known as a freedman, that's something that's going to be huge for us this week, right? July 4th. Our independence. We're free. To be a free person in the New Testament. For them to do any of those other things was literally disgraceful. It's chilling at the honor that a person would have as a free person. And you can look at, I'm not going to bore you, there's 3, 4, 5 different words that you could look up that each one of these mean. Now, when you look up this particular passage, Jesus starts to help you understand what he is going after. You know, those who are considered rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and they exercise great authority. But it shall not be so among you. Whoever wants to be great must be a servant. Whoever wants to be first must be a slave. But what are you talking about, Jesus? That's disgraceful. Don't take away my honor. No, you must serve. Even he said in Matthew 20, first shall be last, last shall be first. It's the kingdom of opposites. Out in the world, in the culture that we live in, it's how do you get higher, bigger, better, wealthier? He who dies with the most toys wins. And Jesus is trying to tell him whoever dies with the least is the greatest. Does it mean that we can't have anything? Does it mean that we need to live in a destitute? No, it doesn't mean that at all. It means where is our priorities? Is our priority to be the biggest, the best, the greatest? Is our priority to say, God, let me sit at your right and let me sit at your left? To be at the right hand of somebody in a meeting, in a household, at a table, means you are at the seat of power. You look in psychology, they'll tell you in a board meeting, the best thing to do is to sit across from the person leading the meeting. There's places where they will teach in psychology. This is the power seat of the room, and people will fight for that position, that seat, because it's about getting ahead. Jesus says, no, it's about getting behind. Can you have what you have and not let it get to you? For the rich young man, God, what do I need to do? Jesus says, you must sell everything that you have and follow me. The scripture doesn't say that, well, he didn't want to do it because the scripture is very, very, very specific. The rich young ruler, he went away sad because he had much. He was wealthy. He knows how to move stuff. He knows how to invest. He knows how to make his wealth work for him. He's rich. The problem with him is he couldn't let it go. The wealth and the things meant more to him than Jesus. So in Jesus' mind, he's the poorest of them all. We don't live for that. We live for him. And only the person who doesn't care about their position, doesn't care about their titles, doesn't care about that stuff, that's the one who won't be disgraced to serve like a slave. He's not making a comment on wealth. He's not even making a comment on poverty. He's making a comment on the character of your heart, the status of your perspective. And how is that polluting your life, your focus, and where you're supposed to be? Jesus says, be a servant, be a slave. Because when he says the Son of Man did not come to be served, he came serve, that title is not what you and I would consider as somebody who would come on a work day. When he says he did not come to be served, but to serve, that's not this passage that we tout around and say, hey, let's serve our community on a family affair. Okay, let's serve, let's do that. Voluntarily, because we want to bless. The word that he uses is the same word that's used for the slave. The humiliation. Jesus didn't come to be served. He came to humiliate himself. He came to do the things that nobody else wanted to do. He came to do the things that nobody else would do. He'd have been the first person to go to a house that nobody wanted to touch because it was leprous and they would die. He'd be the first person that would go to clean up somebody who couldn't take care of themselves and had just defecated all over themselves for their however many times. And he didn't do it because he was paid. He did it because this is what I came to do. And so when James and John say, sit me at your right, sit me at your left, he said, you do not know what you're asking for. Because they're asking for title, they're asking for position, they're asking for honor. And he says, what you need to be asking is that when you want to be on your right, my right and my left, then you have to do the worst of the worst of the worst. Why? Because you need to love people that much. Can you drink that cup? Can you touch the poo on the street? Oh God, it's kind of nasty. God. Yes. You know when the Lord taught me that? The Lord taught me that when I was working facilities at another church. While I was going through Bible college. I was a youth pastor, an assistant during the day, and then to fill my hours because I needed to pay for school and pay for life and whatnot. I was, for the rest of my hours at the church, I was on facilities. So I do my youth time in the afternoon, and then I would go at about 5 o'clock, have just enough time to get a bite to eat, and then I would work till 11 o'clock, and we would go home, and then I would go do my studies, do my thing, wake up at 6 in the morning, and go back to school. 4 years. And it's not a pat on the back. Those were some of the most treasured times of my life, not because I liked them at the time, but I look back at the things that God destroyed in my life and broke down in my life and the tears that I shed in my life, because if I hadn't done that, I tell you, I would not be anywhere near where God wanted me to be today. And I remember coming around the corner one time, it was about 10:15 at night, and we were doing security around the front. And it was a bunch of glass doors in the front. And somebody had come, dropped their pants, and smeared their stuff all over the front window. And I thought to myself, I am me. I was seriously ready to turn. And, you know, Armstrong, we worked the same, did a lot of this, well, we never did the same shift that much, but we did the same job. I'm sure you faced that too. And we would sit there, and it's like you almost want to say, I'll give you $20 if you will do that and let me walk. But here's the problem. There were no hoses nearby. It was the one place in that building that did not have a hose. So we would have to get water buckets, and we would have to scrub it off. I don't want to do that. It's just straight up gross. And we'd sit there and talk. Who does that? Who does that? It's a church. Who cares if it's a church or a Staples building? You just don't do that. Well, I'll tell you somebody who does that. Somebody who is so broken that they have no other way to do it, but they hate God for the position that they're in because the enemy has lied to them that it's God's fault that they're where they're at. So the only way that they know how to get back at God is to get his house. And they go after. I remember the first, I think I talked to Bill about this, the first couple months that I was here, somebody messed up one of our signs. And I went to her and said, yeah, somebody messed up our sign. Oh man, no, I'm happy. Why? Because we're doing what we need to be doing. We're getting the attention of the people that need to be gotten attention of. That's the people I want in the church. Because those are the people that are broken and hate God, and they need to be healed. That's the people that God called us to serve. To wipe their stuff off the front door. And to say, we still love you. The person that comes and breaks into our house, I still love you. I will still serve you when nobody else wants to. This is the heart of Jesus. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. Not when it's seen, but when it's unseen. Not when it's clean, but when it's filthy. Not when it feels good, when it hurts. When it brushes against our schedule. he says, this is the cup that I drink. Are you ready to take the cup? Are you ready? Are you ready to take it and just drink it to the drench? Are you ready to love the unlovable? Are you ready to serve the unservable? Are you ready to pray and hear my heart? Hear my heart. I'm going to say something really almost what would seem to be crass. Are you willing to pray for the people that you think should go to hell in a handbasket? Just let that rehearse in your mind. Are you ready to pray for the people that you and our human understanding that they don't deserve Jesus? You're not the first one to feel that. Read the book of Jonah. And God changed his heart too. It's a human issue. It doesn't make you a bad person. But it does mean that we need to let God change who we are so that we may serve like he did. And it means we go right shoulder to shoulder and say, let's do this. And we don't sit there and say, why aren't you? Come on, man. Come with me, man. You should be. No. It's not the church, because that's not what Jesus did. John, you should be more concerned with serving people. You should be more willing to be shamed and humiliated. It's like he put his hand out and said, okay, I understand you want that, but do you realize what you're asking? Are you willing to drink this cup with me? Do you see a finger? Do you see judgment? You see the love of the Father saying, I realize you don't understand it right now, but let me help you to understand it. Let me help you to serve. Let me help you to humiliate yourself. To serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. Ransom, the word there is litra. It means the price of release. When he says, I came to serve, to be humiliated, and to give my life as a ransom. What's a ransom? Somebody steals what is yours. We don't give in. We're drilled in culture. We will not give. And yet Jesus says, I will gladly pay. Not even change. I will pay. Lift on. I will humiliate myself, and I will pay your price. As a ransom, as a redemption for many. The word there is not just meaning for everybody. It literally means in place of. If you want to we talk a lot in our Bible study about transliteration and kind of what does that mean? What does that word mean? Well, if I were to broaden this service or this verse, he did not come to be served, but to serve. And to give his life as a payment, as a cash payment for your redemption in place of you. For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, to humiliate himself, and to give his life as a cash payment for your release instead of you having to pay it. Mark 10:45. John, James, are you ready to drink that cup? Are you ready to do it?